David.
Good afternoon, David.
Now, we'll have to
Uh,
give a wee bit of time for the audience to get in because apparently there's a problem with notifications.
yes.
And apparently, when I reconnected with Facebook for the first time last week, there was glitches in the Facebook feed. So I'll have a wee look at that as well just now to make sure it's
Okay.
working, it's going out on Facebook, and B, that it's working. Because I say it was glitching on Facebook.
Well, we've already got one in, Chris Fisher.
Right, it's no glitching on Facebook today, thankfully. I'm got the three in already. Now, as I say, there is problems with
There we go.
there is
Alan
problems with
Wilson, Chris Fisher, Annie Scott, Brian, and that's it. That's it.
and aye, Aki's aye, Rebecca. Now, as I say, there is problems with notifications. It's got to be update a date from Restream. I'll sort it out for the next one, so there is a notification out for Thursday's show.
I think we're going to end up being forced into purchasing the 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 bigger restream package at the end of the day. Simple as
Maybe,
that.
maybe as I say, hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get people into the.
Yeah.
The other problem I had, I wasn't getting people through on Facebook comments last time. Hi, Regan, good afternoon to you, young man. Great show the other night. Enjoyed it Thursday. Um,
We've had a few presents
aye, we have.
sent to us. Can you just mention the people that sent them and all that did them and all the rest of it, please?
So my good friends Lynn and Karen, who are absolute legends in the Yes movement, absolute legends, and we go back a long way. Now, Karen, Bartley, and Lynn have sent us some new T-shirts, which we're not going to reveal today. And also, there was a miss when I was sending my address, instead of coming up with Bogfoot Road, autocorrect gave it Bigfoot Road, so now I've got a Bigfoot garden ornament. We also
Yeah.
got a patch each, David, and some stickers. And for up next to the naughty steps, there's a new icon.
Yes.
And that goes with these. That goes with
That's
these.
that's
That's
the that's the that's the third to stick the butcher's
that's
apron on, eh?
yeah, it's just a tub flags for when you get up and road with Buster and some other owner had they picked up their dog tub. We just put one of these wee flags in it so that people remember how good the union is. So as I say, thank you very much to Karen and Lynn,
Yes.
absolute legends. And
Thank you.
I'll get the T-shirt over to David, and then we'll put them on and
Well,
wear them in
they'll
the
be
show.
worn with pride. I can assure you, they'll be worn with pride.
Now, once again, I don't see any Facebook comments. Now let me check and see if there's anybody actually watching the feed on Facebook and see if there's anybody commenting because there seems to be a problem with the comments coming through on Facebook. Yep, I've 14 comments with Facebook now. I haven't seen one yet. I don't know what's going on with these team. I'm going to have to look at it and see what's going on. Okay, right, David, we're up over the 100 mark, so
Right.
it's time we get this show underway. So it's the Two Davies on the 9th, Monday the 9th of the 9th, 2024. And first up, we've got the Greens telling the SNP that they won't support the SNP budget this time round unless it's funding for green projects is there. Now, as we know, the Greens are pissed with the SNP because last week Shona Robson had to roll back on environmental projects because of the £500 million worth of cuts we're having to make because of cuts coming down the line through Westminster. So,
Yeah.
and of course, the very high level of public sector pay settlements that are going out there at the moment compared to inflation. So, are you surprised at this?
Not really. Not really. Not really. It's just the Greens, were actually building themselves up a bit of kudos, right? Then they lost it. They literally lost it overnight on several things. That was when Helmer was in, right? So I'm going to say the Greens now, forget it. And when they throw their dummies at the pram like that, I just think, well, that's to be expected.
Well, it could mean problems for the SNP getting this budget through in December, because we know
We know that.
with Westminster changing its budgets for March, April time to the autumn time, it means that the Scottish Parliament and the Welsh Parliament and the Northern Irish Parliament can't really set their budgets until the winter time, you know. But
Well, I mean, here's a good one for you, right? What happens if they don't get their budget through?
then technically other parties who have put forward the budget can have them voted on. But as we know,
Yep.
over the last umpteen years, neither the Labour Party or the Conservative Party have offered an alternative budget.
But what I'm asking is let's just look at the consequences, all right? What happens if the SNP cannot get their budget through?
I've just told you, the other parties can put together budgets and have them voted on.
Right. There you go.
There will be paralysis, or there will be a paralysis, and of course, a Scottish general election could be forced.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Interesting.
As I say, the way it's laid down in standing orders for the whole road Parliament, so people understand this. If the sitting government can't get its budget through, if an opposition party has prepared an alternative budget, then that can be presented to the Parliament and voted on. So the sitting government may actually have to administer somebody else's budget.
Mm-hmm.
Highly unlikely they want to do that. Probably there would be an election.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. That's how it works. Just so people understand how it works. You know? Right, so it's going to be troublesome for Shona Robertson to get a budget through if she doesn't meet the demands of the Greens, apparently. So I wonder if Labour and Tory are working in the background to actually prepare a budget alternative this time round. Because, as I say, as you know, David, as most of the Scottish public probably don't know, the Labour Party nor the Tory Party have prepared an alternative budget in any of the 17 years that the SNP have been in government.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the first minority SNP government with Alex Salmond, he got his budgets through with support for the Conservative Party.
Yeah. What he did was they went round and they made partnerships, if you like. Yeah.
Made concessions.
And that was it. Yeah.
Generally, that's how it works. What happens is they go to the Lib Dems and say, right, what's your priority? They go to the Labour and say, right, what's your priority? They go to the Tories and say, right, what's your priority? They'll go then to the Greens and say, what's your priority? And whatever one they can accommodate, that'll be the one that helps them get the budget through.
Yeah.
Because at this point in time, the Tory Party and the Labour Party don't want a Scottish election. They want time for the press to demonise the SNP right up until 2026 as Westminster squeezes our budget and the SNP are forced to realign with Westminster, because that is the long-term plan here, David.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right, let's move on to item number 2 up for discussion. Police Scotland asked for guidance from the Crown Office over the branch form operation. That's the investigation into SNP finances, if anybody doesn't know that. Now, apparently, they have submitted files on the information that they've managed to dig up on Nicola Sturgeon and Colin Beattie, and they're asking the Crown Office how they should proceed. Now, if they're having to ask the Crown Office how to proceed, it means it would appear they haven't found nothing, or they have found something, and they want the Crown Office to decide what the charges should be.
Or they have found something, and it actually runs across backwards with regard to what they're looking for. Yeah.
Well, as I
So in
say,
other words, there's proof there that Nicola Sturgeon and her husband and the other chap are completely and utterly blameless.
I don't know about that, David. As I say, they have submitted their files on
Yeah.
Colin Tate and Nicola Sturgeon according to reports,
Yeah.
and looking for guidance on how to proceed with the investigation.
Hmm.
Now that's the word of it. They're not looking for guidance on to bring charges against these people, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But how to proceed further with the investigation. Now, as we all know, this investigation has been bollocks.
Well, yeah. Hang on. It is down to Police Scotland if they wish to keep an investigation on for ages and ages and ages, right? We've seen that with the older unsolved crimes that they're liable to put money into, maybe finding Bible John or whatever, right? Okay. So the last time that the was it the deputy chief constable, the female, the lady,
She's
she
a chief
she
constable.
was chief constable. Well, she was actually asked, and she said, "Well, for the moment, we'll be keeping the brand form going," and that's
Anyway,
exactly what it is.
that wasn't why I was going to say it was bollocks.
Yeah,
I was going to say it's bollocks because it would take a good forensic accountant about 10 minutes to get through that and find out if there was any fucking hooky with A books.
yeah, but yeah, again, it's like we've got to let it run its thing, because seriously, see at the moment, see the more kick up they make about branch form, right? The better actually it's helping the SNP in the long run. Because
Well,
if it turns out they do nothing, then that'll look worse for the Crown Office than anything.
I think that's the problem here. I think the Crown Office doesn't know how to get out of this fucking mess. Because whatever
Yeah,
they find in these books, you can bet your boots member of publics are going to go and say, I want the Tory party books, I want them fucking edited, I want the Labour Party books edited, I want the Lib Dems books edited, I want the Greens edited.
yeah, yes,
They're also
absolutely.
going by the same rules. Now, as we know, the party who've got the record the most of breaking electoral law is the Conservatives. They've been fined
Yeah,
over 100 times for overspending in elections.
yeah. Have we seen any forensic tents up the front of any leaders'
Have we
houses?
seen any forensic investigation into these two parties' books?
Yeah.
Maybe time to do a wee bit digging, see if we can find something that smells a wee bit hooky and ask Police Scotland to investigate.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
See how that goes if the Labour Party and the Tory Party in Scotland are plastered over the front pages for hooky books. Shall we?
well, it was I forget the chap's name that put up the complaint against the SNP.
Sean Cleveland.
That's it, right? Well, why isn't a similar thing being put up against the Conservatives? Definitely. And why isn't a similar thing being put up against Labour?
Because nobody's looked at their books and said, this looks hooky. Could you please do this, Police Scotland?
But we've seen plenty, surely.
You can change the fact nobody made a complaint.
Yeah. Well,
In order for an investigation to be started, somebody has to make a complaint
yeah.
that a crime has been committed. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You take the Tories' books, I'll take Labour's books, and we'll have a wee look.
Yeah.
See, mate,
Always, anything like that, it comes down to a public inquiry by the opposition, right? We'll talk about more of that later anyway. So that's it's a pretty ridiculous situation, but we'll talk about that later.
So it's see this branch form thing. It's interesting, but it's starting to get boring now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is the
No,
one
but
that's
no,
way.
it's like keep bringing it up. Anytime you see it, keep bringing it up because it now gets to the point. It's working against the Crown Office. It's working against the powers that be on the other side, right? Because the unless they actually make a move and charge somebody and actually come down and book court time, then that's it.
But
It's
what's interesting about the Peter Muro thing is, unless he's taken into court in the next couple of weeks and an extension put on that, they're going to have to drop the charges because he was
correct.
charged in April and they've only got 6 months to bring him to court.
Yeah.
So
And,
that would
and to be honest with you, right, if somebody was guilty of fiddling £600,000, right, which where it comes down to, right, then what sort of term in prison would they serve? What are we talking about? A year, couple of years?
and it would appear that Sean Clerkin has lost faith in his own investigation that he started because he's asking them to shut it down.
Aye, no, I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
But as I say, Peter was charged in April.
Yeah.
He needs to be in court in the next couple of weeks so that they can extend it.
Yeah.
Or he has to be in trial in the next couple of weeks.
Well, be nice to get some diaries out and have a look and see if there's anything happening regarding that. Maybe there is.
Well, as I say, you can always look at the court and the court's role and see if there's anything coming up for Peter in the next few weeks.
Yeah, would be interesting.
Would be interesting, yes. I'm sure the BBC are watching the court role very, very very, very carefully now. Thanks, Alistair. Thank you very much.
And Millie, we do know that Peter Murrell loaned the SNP 100k. If you imagine somebody in that position with that amount of money that it's got at the background, then fine. Okay, what you do is you look at the party. So party needs a loan of 100,000. Right, fine. That's it. You'll get it back.
Aye. I mean, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
For a party to borrow for a party member. It's no, as long as it's declared.
Yeah.
And it only has to be declared. It only has to be declared if it's more than £15,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Trouble at Tory party. This one's typical Tory stuff, isn't it? Anyway, MP John Lamont threatens to sue MSP Megan Gallagher after she lodged a complaint saying that John Lamont had threatened her political career. And now this all took place in a call from John. MI6.
Thank you, Stephen.
Anyway, apparently John Lamont phoned up Megan Gallagher and asked her to drop out and throw her weight behind Murdo Fraser. And Megan Gallagher said no. So apparently John threatened her political career. Now I don't know what form the threat took, but anyway, John Lamont is now denying it and threatening to sue Megan Gallagher. They're all very conservative, isn't it?
It sounds to me like it's more of the same. Yeah. When you talk about the other guy, you end up getting he'd been delisted. Yeah.
Aye.
So that she probably get threatened with the same.
Aye.
What was that?
Well,
but I'm hoping that Murdo the Fud gets in. I really am. That would be worth some popcorn, definitely.
Aye, well that would even make John Swinney look good if Murdo the Fud get in. Because that would be Persia missing 2 fucking Tesco branch managers.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what they two are. They're they're just middle management. That's all they are. They're no leaders of any form. You know, they're just middle managers. I mean, John might just make area managers for Tesco. Murdo the Fud, he might just make restore manager, you know, the wee day outlet. You know. But definitely now, Persia is now missing 2 fucking supermarket managers who are now in Scottish politics posing as politicians. They're just too many suits. Anyway, let's move on to man in a suit, First Minister of Scotland, John Swinney. A report that the state broadcaster reports that John Swinney he had advised Nicola Sturgeon not to call for a second independence referendum in the light of Brexit. He said it was too soon after the 2014 referendum. Now, this guy's really starting to annoy me. Now, he's distanced himself from Nicola Sturgeon, even though he was her deputy at the time when they put this policy on the table. He slated Humza Yousaf's correct route to independence. And then he tells us at conference that we've spent too much time looking at the process of getting to independence when the fucker hasn't come up with a plan himself. In fact, it would appear he's fucked it right into the long grass.
Yeah. Let's get rid of John Swinney.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to know is...
I'm going to say it. I want
to know what his thinking is.
I'm not interested in what your thinking is. I'm interested in getting rid of the bugger. Simple as that.
I still want to know what his thinking is.
Yeah.
I mean, when he sacks the Minister for Independence, when he rubbishes the 2 routes that were chosen for independence, he better have a bloody good idea himself where he's taking us.
Yeah.
And he better well tell us
nowhere.
And he better well
tell us nowhere. Yeah.
Because this man's an election loser.
Well, okay. Putting that across there, is he what?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, that's just an opinion. If you let her just a suggestion.
Remember the 2 factions within the party. The gradualists now is the time. Now we've had the gradualists get us to where we are our umpteen million year, but it appears like John's a gradualist and wants another umpteen million year. He forgets the minute this goes out the mind of the public, this is over. And he seems to be taking it off the table.
Regardless of all, get rid of John Swinney. That's it. End of. If you disagree with me, then that's fine. I don't mind, right? But John Swinney is just...
I never said I disagree with you. I just said I want to hear his thoughts because he's rubbished everybody.
I don't mean you, David. I don't mean you, right? I'm talking about anybody on the line there thinking that John Swinney's a nice man and all the rest of it. We don't need a nice man. We need a leader. And to be honest with you, right, this will tell you, Alex Salmond, I detest the ground he walks on, right? However, when he was the leader of the SNP, he was a leader.
So was Nicola. So was Humza.
Exactly.
We need somebody with some fire in their belly, and John hasn't got it.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. And as he walks back for the goal of independence, the SNP's core support will fritter away, and we will have a unionist coalition at the next 2026 Holyrood election.
Oh, we've got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Further cementing a division within the nation, which is what they're trying to do in Northern Ireland.
If Scotland allowed that to happen, that would be it. Forget it, guys.
I don't think Scotland will allow it to happen, but anyway, talking about protests at the weekend at George Square, there was a scene of both a fascist rally and an anti-fascist rally. The BBC are reporting angry scenes. But I watched it on Independence Live and I didn't see many angry scenes. But that doesn't mean Independence Live was at the spot where these incidents took place. But as I say, it seemed quite peaceful to me. And a group of football fans who were there to support a ceasefire in Palestine and justice for Palestine, and who were also there to stand against the fascism, they ended up getting kettled at one side of the square by the police. Now, they also then had to start covering their faces, apparently, because the police were recording everybody in that group of football fans.
All right. That's wrong.
That's
just very wrong.
I mean, that's discriminatory, the way they treated these football fans. They just assumed they were going to cause trouble because they were football fans. Yeah. And that is discriminatory.
Yeah.
That's discriminatory. And that's not on.
I'm very, very, very surprised at Police Scotland for behaving in that way. Right?
Yep.
And I salute the Celtic fans that were involved, even though I was brought up as a Rangers supporter, because they've done a wonderful job about supporting Palestine.
The Green Brigade have been good at it, and they've sent hundreds of thousands of pounds in aid to Palestine as well.
Yeah.
But as I say, the BBC are reporting that there was angry scenes at these protests, and they were also reporting that there was 3,000 people on the anti-fascist protest or the anti-right-wing protest, and 350 fascists there, including a wee guy called the Glasgow Cabbie.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who had come to a wee bit of celebrity with phoning into radio stations like the BBC and Radio Clyde, and who had raised a wee bit of money for charity and things like that with a wee bit of celebrity go. And but he seems to have rubbished his reputation with this fascist stuff. And his anti-racist stuff. The
majority of people are against fascism. End of.
Hi, Socks. You're forgiven for being late. I'm suspending the naughty step for the day. I'm in a good mood. So as I say, Independence Live streamed it. I watched the whole thing until the stream broke down. So I was watching it for a good few hours. It seemed to be pretty peaceful. The Glasgow Cabbie guy who had a wee stall set up, he seemed to be getting ignored altogether. And then, of course, the nutters for Manky Jacob's mob, A Force for Good, were there. Giving us the potted history of the loony Alistair Jack. Alistair, I can't remember his second name, no Jack. But anyway, the guy that thinks the Union is 5,000 years old. Manky Jacob man himself, absolute mental case. He also doesn't think the Holocaust happened, this guy. And anybody, if you want to know who this lunatic is, A Force for Good does have a YouTube channel where you will find Alistair, aka Manky Jacob guy, singing daft songs and things like that. And telling us all made up history of the United Kingdom. Funny as hell. Absolutely funny. But as I say, as far as I can tell, there was not that many arrests. And it would appear the fascists weren't really making an impact in Glasgow. And the people of Glasgow couldn't be arsed for them.
Yeah.
And those who could turned out. And what was interesting was, on the anti-fascist side, didn't was calling for a ceasefire in Palestine. We also had trade unions with speeches for the RMT, one of the teachers' unions, with speeches for peace protesters. It seemed to be a really good event.
Yeah.
So, well attended, as I say, 3,000. I think there's another one this weekend in George Square, and that'll be the Hope Over Fear one, I think, is this weekend in George Square. As we know, Hope Over Fear have been holding a rally in George Square every year in September since the 2014 referendum.
Yeah.
I will probably be in George Square for a couple of hours on Saturday
Yeah.
to to record events. I have missed one of them, but it wasn't deliberate. It's just a case I had to be somewhere else. You know?
And just a nice question to ask, right? Of all of the different organisers of walks and rallies that you've seen, who would you recommend for a Glasgow one? Would you recommend with the I know the
Gordon McIntyre came.
right? Okay, yeah. Gordon, okay. Gordon seems to have brought together quite a lot of people, all the rest of it. So yeah, okay.
Gordon's brought up an extraordinary organisation, David, since 2012.
Yeah.
You watched.
Okay, I know that. I know
We
that.
watched.
We all know that. Yeah.
We watched them.
I've had my words with Gordon over the past, but it's purely and simply, Gordon, I still love you. It just it was a point of principle regarding something on the web.
I mean, we watched them from 2012 onwards because he was a member of the League of Sovereign Scotland, the big yes no. So we watched them debating in the threads and things like that. And he's built a huge organisation with Business for Scotland and, of course, Believe in Scotland. And he's been a huge proponent of Scottish independence, including his billboards and things like that. And
Yeah.
he's recently been taken to doing marches and rallies, and he's very professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
And he seems to pull bigger characters, like Wesley Riddoch and actual politicians like Humza Yousaf, the First Minister, spoke at his last one in Edinburgh prior to being ejected as First Minister. So Gordon seems to have a knack of pulling people together and organising good events. So if you ask me who I would like to organise events in Glasgow, in Edinburgh, or anywhere, then it would be Gordon McIntyre.
Gordon McIntyre again.
He
Okay,
has,
right.
he has a team behind them, David. You know, something like that.
Yeah. And they are now called, so that everybody knows, Believe in Scotland.
That's
Believe in Scotland.
They have a Facebook page, they have a website, they produce things like the books on economics and things like that, the economics of an independent Scotland and things like that, Scotland's wealth, what sectors it's in, how much it's worth, all that sort of thing. So Believe in Scotland, folks, if you haven't looked up any Gordon McIntyre groups, Business for Scotland, Believe in Scotland, just put them into your search engine and they will come up. Wonderful asset for the Yes movement. And great asset for the Yes movement. So,
and he produced a book. There's a larger version and a small version, which you can buy off them. Some of the information will be slightly out of date now, but there'll be still a lot of information that is in date. And I recommend get your hands on those books.
I've got one here.
Read through.
I don't know where that is, but I've got one kicking about here somewhere. It'll be probably
not. I've got one myself.
Right, let's move on. Shall we? Let's move on and move down that road to the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers. Seen we're after half an hour into the programme. Starmer faces problems over the winter fuel payment vote. Now he's under attack in a few fronts here. His biggest trade union backer, Unite, Sharon, would you call her there? She wants him to reverse this programme. He's got 50 MPs going to rebel, apparently, which means he's going to have to suspend another 50 MPs, because he's already suspended those who stood against him on the SNP vote. Right? Now, he's got a third problem, though. He's getting slaughtered in the press. Now, why is he getting slaughtered in the press? Because when Theresa May in 2017 wanted to means test this benefit, the Labour Party had the report drawn up to see how this would affect pensioners in the UK. And what the report summarised was there would be an additional 4,000 pensioners die a year each winter without this winter fuel payment. So Starmer, who criticised Theresa May for wanting to means test this, and threw in her face that if she means tested it, 4,000 additional pensioners would die a year. But now, even though that he knows this, he is going to scrap it. Makes him seem a wee bit heartless. Does it not?
Well, he is. That's point one, right? He is. We know he is, right? Second point is that he could have used the normal income tax way of dealing with the payment to gain the same amount of money. To gain the same amount of money, he could have put up income tax on whatever, because what they were looking to do was catch out people that were making lots of money on their pensions, private pensions, all the rest of it, right? In actual fact, what they've done is they've taken it off people that are living on half of the minimum living wage.
We get that, David. But there's more than one way you could have dealt with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The reason why they can't deal with through income tax is because they have agreed to stick to the base rate, no being changed until 2028. Interesting thing about fiscal rules.
No, but they also agreed that they wouldn't touch the triple lock and wouldn't touch anything off the pensioners.
Well, as I say, David, the interesting thing about fiscal rules is that in economics there is no such thing as fiscal rules. They're fucking made up.
Yeah, I know that.
Fiscal rules are just rules that you've popped out of thin air. Because in economics, there is no such thing as a fiscal rule.
Yeah. I've just thought up one that everybody with a £10 note in their pocket now owes me 500 quid. How's with that? There's a fiscal rule for you.
Aye, that's exactly it. That's it. You've just made up a fiscal rule. Everybody in Scotland with a £10 note owes you 500 quid. Yeah, that's a fiscal rule. That's what a fiscal rule is. It's absolute nonsense. Is what a fiscal rule is. The fact that Rachel Reeves is deciding to stick to austerity, a failed economic policy, which has killed 320,000 people at the latest set of figures. Labour are refusing to release the new set of figures, believe it or not. It's austerity is a choice, and as Professor Danny Blanchford has said, austerity is designed to kill the poor, the weak, and the elderly, and that's just a fact.
Yeah,
it really is. But as I say, Starmer's got a problem here, and the problem isn't just a rebellion within his party.
Yeah, he's losing power. He's losing power. And as time goes on, you'll find that he'll dig himself in deeper. He will dig himself in deeper, because those people that are thinking of rebelling against the whip on this particular vote, what's he going to do? He's taken out 5 of them, right, previously. Right. Now he's going to take out another nearly 50.
Right, so
if he takes out another 55, that's going to start looking really, really bad to the other Labour MPs.
Well, as I say, what's interesting about it is he has already expelled 5. He suspended 5 for 6 months. So he's going to have to suspend this 50 for 6 months. But maybe he'll suspend them for less. We're going to get this one up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Duncan. Scottish Labour MPs will bend over and do what their imperial masters tell them to do. That's absolutely true, Duncan. It is. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I can see this Labour Party shattering really quickly. And as we all know, David, they won this election.
Yeah, it won't shatter, right? However, there will be holes below the waterline. And
Well,
eventually what will happen is it'll start to sink lower in the water
I
as we
don't see
go.
that or Rachel Reeves lasting long in office because on a platform of change and they have offered no change. They have not just
Oh,
offered they haven't just offered more of the same. They have offered worse
yeah.
because they're
No,
telling it,
that's the change that they've brought. The
aye,
change has been a change for the worse.
yep. Whereas people were voting for change for the better.
Yeah.
Right, talking about the Labour Party and problems. Now, this one was brought up with, Kernow Demo, and it comes from a
Aye.
report in GB News, believe it or not. But David
Uh,
and I watched this.
excellent one for Colonel. Excellent one for Colonel. I must admit,
If
I
you,
watched that this morning and it was wonderful. It really was.
apparently, Alan Milburn, a friend of West Streeton and ex a health minister in the previous Labour government, has been going to meetings at the Ministry of Health without having any official clearance.
Now, Alan Milburn actually has is a bloke, if you like. He epitomizes everything to do with you privatizing the NHS, and we're talking about NHS throughout the UK. We're talking about England, Wales. We're talking about Scotland, right? And what will happen is that if he manages to work alongside Streeton, it'll happen. It'll all happen. And what's happened is Streeton has put himself in a really, really bad situation
Yes,
by
because
opening up all these private things to somebody who has not got any official title whatsoever.
what position? He has no official position. He's just Wes's pal,
Yeah,
and yet he's been into
right.
the Ministry of Health. And apparently, and Streeton admitted this on the interview in GB News that he had this Milburn has had access to confidential materials. Now,
Yeah,
when Wes was asked about this, he was boasting about the fact that this guy is a member of the Privy Council, this guy is an ex-health minister, and the reporter kept pointing out, but hold on a minute, he doesn't have an official title, he hasn't got any security clearance, has he got a pass, she asked him, and that stumped him for a few seconds, then he went, I don't know, I've got a feeling he did know, and I've got a feeling this
well,
guy has got a pass.
also what the lassie said was, she said, "Oh, member of the Privy Council. Well, so is Rees Mogg.
Oh,
Why not
right.
bring him along?"
Aye. Or Alex Salmon.
Aye, right.
Or Ian Blackford.
Yeah,
They're all members of Privy Council.
yeah,
But anyway, the reporter then goes on to talk about a Suella Braverman and her sharing of information with an elected Tory MP, which he didn't have clearance, she didn't have clearance, he didn't have clearance to receive the information she sent him, and she ended up under investigation with the Parliamentary Standards Committee.
yeah.
Now, it would appear that this Labour government are as bent as the last Tory government because they're taking their pals into official meetings, and these pals are not accountable to the public. And of course, because they don't have an official reason to be there, then the officials that are taking down notes of the meeting won't exclude what these private members of the public have said.
But Les Streeton says, I'm the health minister. I
I could,
can put in anybody that I want to.
right. And that was his attitude, actually, which was quite amazing.
Yeah,
He had the same cavalier attitude to standards in public life as Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak,
yeah, yeah,
Keir Starmer. Just,
yeah.
you know, absolutely unbelievable. So far we've had a couple of cronyism scandals and a cash for access scandal.
Yeah, yeah.
What are we, 10 weeks in?
Didn't say much for the first 100 days, is it?
No, we're fucking mental, isn't it? 10 weeks in. Two cronyism scandals, cash for access scandal, freezing fucking grandma, continue to starve kids.
Yeah.
And what all the infrastructure programs to fix all these rotten schools that are 40 bits. No fucking, it's not a good start. It is not a good start.
Starmer doesn't have a bloody clue. He doesn't. And that's becoming blatantly obvious.
Aye.
So, it just, you've voted the wrong person into government. And I'm not talking about people at Scott, I'm talking about everybody throughout the UK. You've voted the wrong person into government. Simple as
You know what Starmer is? He's a worse person than fucking Murdo Fraser and John Swinney.
that.
You know, another stuff shut for fuck's sake. Right, let's move on. COVID inquiry moves on to next step. In this step, I will look into how COVID affected people's health who did not have COVID. In other words, access to the NHS for people who didn't have COVID-related illnesses. Now, as we know, excess deaths and things like that are going to shoot through the roof because people didn't get treatment for non-COVID-related issues.
Yeah.
And when we're going for treatment for COVID-related issues, the treatments were delayed.
Yeah.
I might have been scheduled to get into the hospital for some sort of procedure, but there'd be COVID in the hospital, so that procedure would be put off. And by the time I get to that procedure, it might well be that procedure may no longer be beneficial to me.
But also on the other side of that coin, we had people that perhaps had minor complaints that they would have gone into hospital to have resolved, right, by an intervention. They put that off because they were scared to enter a hospital in a weakened state where they might pick up COVID.
Aye. Right, it's also going to look into how COVID affected healthcare workers and social care workers. And it's going to look into how it affected people who lost family members not during the pandemic.
Those are the ones. Those are the dreadful, awful victims, as far as I'm concerned. People that lost, people that died, and the people that were family members, relatives, friends, whatever. Right? What can you say about that? That must have been awful. I mean, what happened to you, David? It didn't happen to me. Nobody close to me died, but I know your dad died as a result of that, and that must have been awful.
It was awful.
Yeah.
But he was a fair age. He had a good innings.
Yeah, I know that.
But he was pretty fit. There was no reason for it. Kidney stones, the agent had dissolved them in the house. It was only because they wanted them in the hospital. But that's what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, and what we got? To be honest,
NHS
still trying to catch up with. But of course, they're going to be catching up for years, Christ.
Yeah.
You know, normal operations were out for a long time. I don't know why his resolution's so bad. They might need to clean his camera. It's definitely not a stream thing because he's got full strength on his screen. Okay. And Andy Scott Bryan used a stream breakup earlier. I don't understand why. Right, let's move on. Corruption review of 5,000 COVID contracts. Handed out by the previous government. And 135 of them were found to have red flags for corruption. Okay. Now, this investigation was carried out by Transparency International UK, and they found 135 high-risk contracts with at least 3 red flags, warning signs of a risk of corruption. 28 contracts worth 4.1 billion went to firms with known political connections, while 51 contracts worth 4 billion went through a VIP lane for companies recommended by MPs and peers, a practice that the High Court ruled was unlawful.
Right. So what's going? So all right. This is a charity.
Yeah.
It's pointing out this information, right?
Yeah.
What's been said is going to happen?
Well, they've funded the information out to the charities written to the National Audit Office, the Public Accounts Committee, and Chancellor Rachel Reeves with the detailed overview of the findings of the contracts involved. Now, this is going to do with the fact that Labour said they're going to get after these people who had.
Yeah. So what are Labour going to do? Right. I'll tell you what they're going to do. They'll form a public inquiry. Right.
Right.
Same as Chilcot, same as all these other inquiries. Right. And all the inquiries do is blooming tell the story. Nothing happens. They tell the story. It's like a pressure valve, if you like, right? What should happen if you discover a crime of that order? What do you think you should do? You don't think, oh, it's too big. No, you go to police.
Ah, you don't have
You say to the you say to the police, look, we've got good evidence here that such and such has happened, right? And the police then take over the investigation. That's their job.
Yep.
Investigate it. They bring it to possible conclusion. In England, it would be the Crown Office that would deal with it specifically, right? And they would look at the evidence and say, yes, there's a good court case here, right? So you got 135 different cases that's going to go ahead, right? Now that is common sense. You hand 135 cases to the Labour government, what you're going to get is you're going to get a public inquiry and nothing else.
Correct. So you've got to ask yourself, why is Transparency International handing this information to the Audit Commission, the Public Accounts Commission, and Rachel Reeves? Well, according to the Labour Party, they're going to get after these hooky contracts. They're going to get after the people who benefited from these hooky contracts, and they're going to bring them to justice. But David, as you and I know, with £22 billion black hole, they ain't spending a fucking dime on looking for this money.
That's right. That's right. So, but the thing is, though, the Crown could spend money to get the vast majority of the cash through.
Right, you get it back. No, you get it back.
Well, there you go. Why aren't they?
I don't know.
I'll bet you that these things that have come to light, and there's been enough information, people have gone to the police and complained, and the police have told them, away you go away, right? Too big, too much nonsense.
Aye. Right, we better move on because we're running out of time. Ukraine, what's happening there? You send hundreds more missiles to Ukraine. Ukraine approves a large wartime cabinet reshuffle. Russia's about to take Pokrovsk, and Russia's just about finished clearing the Ukrainians out of Kush. So that's roughly it. There's nothing, it's still just a stalemate.
Well, running across the other side of the world, if you want to see Kamala Harris and Monsieur Trump debating, it happens on Wednesday at 2:00 on, write this down, pen and paper time, boys and girls. If you have Freeview on your TV, it is channel 4005 will get you CNN, and CNN are airing it on Wednesday at 2:00. That's they call it London time. Right, okay. 2:00. Right.
And Lauren says, I'll give you the 20 in my pocket. So I ain't owing anyone a grand. That's your fiscal rule. Kicked in the.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you very much, darling.
Aye, so you can watch the Idiot Trump go up against Kamala Harris on, was it Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday, 2:00. Freeview 4005.
Right, anyway, apparently the public in America, they want the next debate to be about policy and less about
It's yeah, it's sitting at on the you preview predicting the polls round about 48% for both of them. So it's neck and neck.
Aye.
It's neck and neck. You wouldn't think that, would you?
And so in America, things are heating up. We're getting near to November. It's going to start getting very fever pitch in the press here.
Yep.
So it should be funny. Hey, all sorts. Nice to see you here, Marcus. It really is. I was watching Marcus's live feed last night. I watch it every Sunday night. Marcus does a cracking live feed on his All Sorts channel, folks. So if you haven't watched it before, look up All Sorts, look up Reagan Elite, look up One Angry Badger, no, One Angry Pagan, Political X, Maximilian Robespierre, others hundreds of big mad studios.
Keanu, don't forget Keanu.
Oh, aye, Demo. The Demo Rants.
Yeah.
Demo, aye. Demo is good enough.
Keanu Demo.
Then there's Van Man.
Yeah.
I'm no that keen on Van Man, but hell, that's the way it goes. But all sorts. It's nice to see you dropping in. As to say. Right, where were we? Aye, we're just about going to look and see what's happening in the Israeli Gaza slaughter. What's new there? UN calls for full.
The Israelis are thinking of turning to the more northern states of what they call Israel, right?
Aye.
So they are definitely pointing towards West Bank. They've already been taking action on, but they're probably going to take more action on West Bank.
Aye. Well, anyway, they say UN call for full inquiry into West Bank shooting of American Turkish citizen.
No, hang on. The fact that the person was called American Turkish is ridiculous. The person is American. They were an American.
Right.
Same as if I went and lived in America and I got eventually got my immigration status done, I'd be an American. I'd be Scottish by my past, but American, right? The last was an American. And Blinken has been asked in front of the press in the White House why he isn't dealing with an American that was shot by the Israelis.
No, aye.
And why are they supporting a country that shoots Americans, right? And Blinken gave an answer saying, "Oh, but we need to get information on the rest of it, right?" And you get booed by the press cohort that was there.
Now, anyway, and of course, as we know, the conflict along Lebanon border, Hezbollah pommeled northern Israel the other night there, and that would appear that the Skynet that they've got, the Iron Dome, didn't keep them all out.
Yeah.
So they're finding holes in the Iron Dome. So, but as we know, Netanyahu's desperate to hang on to power. He will be ending up in the Hague eventually. One hopes.
I just want to see him out of power. That's it. I just want to see him and people like him out of power, and for the nonsense to end.
Right, David. That's us on our mark. It's time to wind this up. I want to thank the moderators for moderating. I want to thank everybody who contributed. I want to thank everybody who popped in to watch at peak stream. What I've got on my screen here, no counting Facebook viewers, because I know there are people watching on Facebook, was 204 was peak. We've got 185 as we wind it up. That's good viewing figures, David. That's good live viewing figures.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to thank everybody. As I say, folks, Reagan Elite, All Shots, Care Now Demo, Political X, Big Mad Studios, One Angry Pagan. They've all got interesting channels, folks.
Yeah.
They all specify, and they don't.
We know they take up time to watch, but they are worthwhile watching at times. They really are.
As listen, they're worthwhile watching all the time.
Yeah. I
Especially
couldn't do it all the time. I couldn't do it all the time, David. I couldn't do it all the time.
all sorts of
Uh.
Sunday nights, great entertainment. He's going granddaughter in the shot and everything. You know, his life just goes on and about as he talks about news and things like that. Quite relaxing, the atmosphere as well. Right, anyway, that will always one thing left today, David. And that's no read comments. Hello, are we paying attention?
Davy, you're too spanner down. Ask your sole moderator. And get it at all.
Two spanners doing? Ask my sole moderator. I don't know where the spanners are. I dare say they're still kicking about somewhere. Nobody's removed any spanners unless they've removed themselves. They'll leave a spanner spanners. And don't they spanner and that spanners jokes. You know, and we do appreciate the spanners a lot right enough. Anyway, David, I've got to work in 30 minutes, so only one thing left today.
Bye, Davy. Bye, guys.
Truth to power and